is something called Junction, which is an incubation project under Jasmy. Do I think that the awards they've been winning so far in the first half of 2026, do I think that right there could maybe have a huge impact for Jasmy, especially moving forward? Well, I like to lean towards hypothetically maybe yes. So let me explain why in today's video, even though this is purely my perspective and even though nothing I say is financial advice. However, did you know that when it comes to Junction, of course, I already talked about how in my previous video they won a Google for Startups award at QWS Startup Award 2026. I've already talked about that, but there's another award that they actually announced in that month as well, again in March. So did you know that Junction actually also in March won Sony's Financial Ventures Award? So if we take a look at that right there, that is pretty impressive. Again, Sony and Google, they're really massive, right? And why could this matter? Well, it's because it's like imagine if, let's say, for whatever reason, I won like a silver medal in the Olympics or like, let's say, a bronze medal. Now, even if, let's say, my career path later on isn't in the Olympics, which again, I did not ever, participate in the Olympics, but I'm just saying, in a pure hypothetical, if let's say that's the case, that right there, like winning a medal at a certain sport in the Olympics, that could matter for future career opportunities, right? Because that shows like, all the dedication, the resilience, the character needed to win something like that. So it could matter. So when people like to say this doesn't affect Jasmy, well, I think it hypothetically does to a certain extent because we have to take a look at it. Again, like I mentioned earlier on the video, or should I say in the beginning of the video, Junction is an incubation project under Jasmy. It's really focused on AI. So naturally, whatever Junction accomplishes, I think inherently it kind of does affect Jasmy to a certain extent. People like to say that, okay, but people don't really care about it. Yes, that's true generally as of right now, even though I still care about it. But during an altcoin season, usually, and also let's say during a broader change in market sentiment, like let's say the market sentiment were to change, usually people do care about this type of stuff. They typically do. That's the thing. It's like, for instance, people care about Jeff Bezos right now, but I don't know if they cared about him like 35 years ago. Who knows, right? That's the thing. So people usually care about it once, the topic has become trendy, once the person has become famous. They usually care about it then. But they usually don't care about, whatever's going on if the times aren't so good. So when it comes to Jasmy as of right now, I feel like it kind of reminds me of Jeff Bezos 35 years ago. I don't know if a lot of people really cared about whatever he was doing, but I'm just saying, if let's say this market sentiment were to hypothetically change, sometimes it doesn't need 35 years though. That's the thing, right? But yeah, I'm getting a little bit off track here, but I'm just saying, when it comes to, let's say, those awards that Junction won, I think it does, actually impact Jasmy in a pretty positive way, but it may not showcase it as of right now. Granted, we've seen around a 3% recovery in the past 24 hours when it comes to Jasmy. Not too bad, but at the same time, we're seeing Bitcoin actually surpass 80 grand. We'll wait and see what happens, but it'd be nice if it could maintain it and maybe incrementally, who knows, go to 90 grand. 100 grand would be absolutely awesome though, I think in terms of a broader change in market sentiment, but we'll wait and see. And sometimes people like to tell me, well, if Jasmy needs a broader change in market sentiment, why even care about this? Like they say, why not focus on more so of the larger projects out there? And to each their own, right? I can't tell anyone to anything, but when people ask me why I personally prefer a project of this size, the reason is because, first of all, I'm not into microcaps. The reason why is because usually things haven't been that established yet. But on the flip side, if something is so massive, if let's say the market sentiment were to recover, if they do like 20 or 30 or 40% or whatever, it just doesn't excite me. However, also on the flip side though, I'm not looking for like an 80,000% movement either or whatever, right? That's not what I'm looking for anyways. So when I take a look at it, what is a balance for me? It's something that's not too massive and not too small either. Hence why I believe more so on these type of projects that are more mid-sized, right? Not too big, but not too massive. In a sense where if let's say Jasmy goes back to a market cap, which we've seen before, by the way, this is not like unheard of when it comes to Jasmy, right? But we've seen Jasmy in December 2024 reach around a 2 billion market cap. Right now we're almost 300 million. So, basically, if we consider how in December 2024 we actually exceeded 2 billion by a bit, so it was almost 2.2 billion. So, yeah, I mean, we're around 7 times over than that as of right now, which I don't mind though, because again, I'm not looking for a microcap. That's not what I'm looking for, but I'm also not looking for like a 20 or 30% recovery. So personally for me, the reason why I don't want to believe in a project that's so massive is because sometimes the recovery isn't that dynamic. But when it comes to microcap, sometimes I don't want to take that, kind of, I guess, chance on something like that. That's not what I want to do. So that's why I look for something in between. Like for me, like a 2x, a 3x, a 4x, or whatever, like I don't complain about that at all. Like I don't know why I'd be angry when it comes to something like that, let alone if Jasmy went back to where it once was, in December 2024, we're around 7 times over than that. I wouldn't complain about that. Again, I'm not looking for like a 1000, X or whatever. I'm not looking for that. Like, why? I'm not looking for those ridiculous random movements that we sometimes see with a microcap. Nah, I'm just not willing to do that. And I'm perfectly happy about missing out when it comes to that type of stuff. I don't mind though. Like, I just don't care about that. But like, a 30% recovery, I just find it to be like kind of boring actually. If that was what I was happy with, like 20 or 30%, I don't know why I just wouldn't be in gold like years ago. Gold actually, we've seen the movements it had, right? Not too long ago, we saw an all-time high when it comes to gold. So if I was happy with like 10, 20, or 30% or whatever, then I wouldn't even be in this space. Like, I don't know, right? That's the thing. But yeah, when it comes to, in the case of Jasmy, that type of movement right there, right? If it maybe were to recover back to where it once was in December 2024, I don't think I'd ever see that when it comes to gold, like in the next couple years or whatever. I mean, who knows what's going to happen here, but I'm just saying, when it comes to something like that, there's a reason why I'm still a fan when it comes to the space, but also at the same time, I don't want to believe in a microcap, but also I don't want to believe in a project that's so massive. That's just kind of the way you take a look at it, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. However, on the flip side as well, Jasmy actually seeing almost 100,000 holders, I think that would be pretty impressive if it could actually reach that. It would be a big, like, kind of barrier, I guess, in terms of a milestone psychologically, because I think at that point it would just kind of, feel like, wow, Jasmy has 100,000 holders, that type of reaction. But we haven't seen that as of right now. And also, let's keep in mind, Jasmy is coincidentally actually at the time of this recording ranked 123rd in the world. So like 1, 2, 3. But even besides that point though, people like to tell me, wow, this project that's ranked like 898th or whatever is going to randomly make it. This project that's ranked 1232nd is randomly going to make it. If they're saying that's going to make it, so what? Suddenly Jasmy, which is bigger than those projects, more fans, more historical notoriety, that suddenly won't make it? How does that make sense? I don't know, right? But I'll wait and see what happens. I mean, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I'll keep everyone updated as to what goes on when it comes to Jasmy. So, yeah. Hopefully, y'all stay tuned for future upcoming videos. I want to say thank you for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Mali the Captain, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.